Hi, I'm Shane Peacock, and this is my novel, As We Forgive Others, which is the first book in the Northern Gothic Mystery series. The second one is called A Place of Secrets, and it comes out in September 2025. This book tells the story of a homicide detective from New York City who has all kinds of difficulties, as one could imagine, living that kind of life and has experienced a lot of horrible things, and he's having problems in his marriage and with his family as well. And he's also assaulted a suspect, which he feels horrible about. And he decides he needs to get away from all of this. He needs to go somewhere where the people are polite and nice and there aren't really any problems. So he decides he's going to go north to the country, to the north. And in this series, I actually don't identify Canada by name at any place. And that kind of goes along with the idea that I think of Canada as a sort of a place full of kind of iceberg personalities, a kind of unnamed country. Has something to do with kind of, I think, who we are as a country. We're kind of a more mysterious country, and sometimes maybe a somewhat darker country than we admit. And this series is kind of trying to look at Canada in a new way and hopefully an honest way. So when he gets to Canada, um, he goes to the northern part of southern Ontario, and he falls into a relationship with a woman by the name of Alice Morrow, Sergeant Alice Morrow, who works with a police service in a small town in this area. And he starts finding out that people are not what he thought that they were going to be like. And they tend to be a little bit more mysterious and stranger people. And Alice Morrow and he begin to investigate this very strange and dark crime. But the story begins a little bit earlier when he is in his old rented farmhouse out in the countryside, and a woman comes to his door, kind of a strange woman, and she tells him something that is very strange. So, this is how the story begins. On the morning the stranger came to his door, Mercer was at the window, looking south. Alice's presence, like a radiance without a source, like something he couldn't grasp, still in the bedroom behind him. He wasn't seeing the bleak landscape, though, the snow lying in rigid sheets in the frigid fields, in the gray and white world around his old rented farmhouse. He was remembering the drive north, heading here to this exile, his mind crumbling, alone yet talking out loud to his wife and children as they disappeared in the rearview mirror, and speaking to the young man he had assaulted too. He was asking every one of them if there was forgiveness for him. There had been times these last few weeks when he swore he could not see any color up here. This morning was no different. The sun had struggled to appear, but then two circles of light cut through the grayness, coming toward him along the lonely mile from the main road. The headlights shimmered as they moved, winking at him when they reached his lane, turned down it, and then eased onto the gravel driveway. It was 7:30 in the morning. He still didn't sense any danger. He didn't think of the Glock 38 he used to keep in his shoulder holster, turned in that last day in New York. He watched the car, just one person in it, approaching him in the middle of nowhere. His thoughts were still with Christine and their kids, and with his victim, whose scream still woke him up at night. He had not written anything in his journal for days. He needed to do that. It would help him come to grips with things. Someone had suggested that. Just write it out. What he had written, though, seemed like stories, not reality. He had no idea that morning, in this quiet and monochromatic place, that another story, full of color and pain, was coming his way. The woman in the car was bringing it to him.